Title: From Tradition to Transformation. Chapter 1: A World Within Four Walls. Defining rhythm of prayer, household chores, and occasional visits to the local market, always under the watchful eyes of her relatives. Her family was deeply religious, adhering to strict customs. She wore a burkha every time she stepped outside, her long, untouched hair hidden beneath it. It had never been cut, not even trimmed. Her mother often said, "A woman's hair is her honor, a gift from God that should never be altered." And so, Saira's jet-black tresses had grown beyond her waist, cascading in thick waves down her back. The only glimpse she had of the outside world came from their old television set. She would watch Bollywood actresses in glamorous outfits, Western women with their short, stylish haircuts, and young students confidently walking through university campuses. It all seemed like another universe, one she was destined never to be a part of. Then, the unthinkable happened. Chapter 2: A Ticket to Freedom. Saira's father, a man of strict principles but a deep love for his daughter, had always wanted her to study. When she received a scholarship for a postgraduate program in Canada, the family was torn. Her mother and aunts feared that the modern world would corrupt her. "She will lose her values," they whispered. But her father, after much deliberation, said, "Saira is a strong girl. She will honor our family wherever she goes." And just like that, Saira found herself on a plane, wrapped in the familiarity of her burkha, clutching the past as she hurtled toward the unknown. Chapter 3: A New World. The moment she stepped into Toronto, the culture shock was overwhelming. The bustling streets, the mix of people, the bright lights, it was nothing like the quiet village she had known. Her roommate, Alicia, was an Indo-Canadian girl born and raised in Canada. She wore jeans and crop tops, her shoulder-length hair dyed in soft caramel highlights. She greeted Saira with warmth but also curiosity. "You always wear this?" Alicia asked, gesturing toward Saira's burkha. Saira nodded, suddenly self-conscious. "It's part of my faith." Alicia didn't push further, but the contrast between them was glaring. Chapter 4: The First Step. Summer arrived, and the heat became unbearable. Walking to class in layers of fabric left Saira drenched in sweat, her long hair sticking to her back beneath the burkha. One day, Maya, another friend, suggested, "Why don't you try just a hijab? You can still cover your hair, but at least you won't feel like you're melting." Saira hesitated. It felt like a betrayal. But later that evening, she stood in front of the mirror, draped a light scarf around her head, and looked at herself. She still felt modest. Still herself. The next day, for the first time, she left her burkha in the closet and walked out in a simple hijab and a long dress. It felt like breathing fresh air after years of suffocation. Chapter 5: The First Cut. One evening, Alicia and Maya invited Saira to a salon. "You should get a trim," Maya suggested. "Your hair is so long, it must be hard to manage." Saira's heart pounded. Cutting her hair was unthinkable. But curiosity gnawed at her. Sitting in the salon chair, she watched as a stylist snipped Alicia's ends with precision. The freshly cut strands framed Alicia's face beautifully, the trimmed edges perfectly even and smooth. Saira reached out hesitantly, running her fingers through Alicia's silky, freshly trimmed hair. It felt feather-light and healthy, glowing under the salon's bright lights. "You see how fresh it feels?" Alicia smiled. "Just a little trim makes all the difference." Saira's eyes traced the way Maya's layers moved effortlessly as she turned her head, each strand catching the light. The thought of having her own hair feel that free, that easy, sent a strange, thrilling sensation through her. When her turn came, she swallowed hard and barely whispered, "Just a trim. Only the damaged ends." The stylist lifted her heavy locks, combing through the thick waves with care. Then, with a soft snip, the first inch fell away. Saira held her breath as more strands joined them on the floor. It was barely an inch, but to her, it felt like a transformation. As she ran her fingers through the newly trimmed ends, a shiver of excitement coursed through her. It felt lighter, healthier. And for the first time, she didn't feel guilty about it. Chapter 6: The Desire for More. The trim had awakened something inside her. Each time she brushed her hair, she noticed how much smoother it felt, how easily her fingers glided through. The thought of cutting a little more, just a little, kept creeping into her mind. One afternoon, she stood before the mirror, lifting her long hair and imagining it shorter. It would be easier to manage. It would feel even lighter. Weeks later, she returned to the salon, heart racing. "Maybe a little shorter this time," she said shyly. The stylist smiled knowingly. "How about some soft layers? It'll give your hair more movement." Saira nodded. This time, when the scissors worked through her hair, she didn't squeeze the armrest as hard. She watched as the strands fell, feeling a rush of anticipation instead of fear. When the stylist finished, Saira turned her head side to side, watching her new layers move with ease. The sensation thrilled her. That night, she lay in bed running her fingers through her hair, reliving the experience. She wanted to feel that again. Chapter 7: The Big Chop. The urge for change grew stronger. What started as curiosity had turned into something deeper, a craving for freedom, for reinvention. One evening, as she watched YouTube videos of women cutting their hair short, she whispered to herself, "What if I did that?" The next day, she walked into the salon with a new kind of determination. "I want a real change," she said. "How short are we talking?" the stylist asked. Saira took a deep breath. "Shoulder length." She almost backed out when she saw the stylist gather her thick waves into a loose ponytail. But then, snip. The heavy weight vanished in an instant. She gasped as the stylist let the chopped-off ponytail fall onto the counter. Her reflection looked different. Fresh. Lighter than she had ever felt before. The stylist shaped the ends, giving her a sleek, elegant shoulder-length cut. As Saira ran her hands through it, a slow, radiant smile spread across her face. Alicia clapped. "You look amazing." And for the first, Chapter 8, The Final Transformation. Months passed. With each trim, her hair grew shorter, and with each cut, she felt herself shedding old fears and traditions that had once confined her. The bob came next. It was sharp, sophisticated, empowering. She twirled the short strands between her fingers, marveling at how easily they bounced. Then, one evening, she stared at herself in the mirror, her bob slightly grown out. The question burned in her mind. Why not go all the way? The next morning, she sat in the salon chair and whispered, "A pixie cut." The stylist raised a brow. "Are you sure?" Saira exhaled. "Yes." This time, she didn't flinch as the scissors snipped close to her scalp, the longer strands falling away in soft, feathery pieces. She felt the cool air on her neck for the first time in her life. When the stylist spun the chair around, she barely recognized herself. The delicate pixie cut framed her face beautifully, accentuating her sharp cheekbones and bright eyes. She lifted a hand to her head, brushing through the short, textured layers. A rush of exhilaration flooded through her. For the first time in her life, she felt truly free. Chapter 9: A New Passion. Hair had once been a symbol of restriction in her life, but now, it had become her passion. The more she cut, the more she learned, not just about hairstyling but about confidence, about breaking barriers, about embracing change. She started practicing on friends, then took a hairstyling course. With every client, she saw a reflection of her own journey, the hesitation, the fear, and then, the joy of transformation. One day, a young girl walked into her salon, her long hair untouched, just like Cyrus had been years ago. "I want to cut it," the girl said hesitantly. "But, my family." Saira smiled, meeting her eyes in the mirror. "Change isn't about losing who you are," she said. "It's about becoming who you're meant to be." As the scissors made their first cut, the girl's nervous expression melted into something new, something familiar. Freedom. Just like Saira had felt, once upon a time.